we're running it back again, folks. In the Star Wars saga, The Last Jedi, today here at Into the West Comics. If you're joining us for the first time, we're excited to have you. We're running it back. I am with the most amazing panel you have ever seen. We got Frank sitting to my left. He's never been in this seat before.
I never sit next to you.
You feel the energy?
I do.
That's not true. We sat there after the Comic-Con.
No, I said I never sat next to him. I've sat next to you before. That's all I do.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then also with us today, looking fresh as hell in that beautiful shirt, Austin.
Thank you. What's up? What's
here
up?
with us today.
Hey.
Talk about The Last Jedi.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do this.
Quan loves this shirt so much. He loves
Before
it.
we go on, Quan goes, "You gonna wear that?" What a jerk! But we love him. And then we also have my brother from another mother. Her name is Carol, but his name is Paul Bagnoli. He's going to be joining us today to talk about The Last Jedi. I don't know why I keep getting shrugs and handholds. Like, aren't we supposed to bring energy to the show? You guys asked me to host this time. I'm here and I'm ready to do it. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about The Last Jedi. Probably the most divisive.
Yep, I'd agree with you.
The most divisive Star Wars in the history of all of Star Wars. I don't understand why. I'm going to let you guys go. I have a lot of things to say about this, but Frank, I want to start with you. The Last Jedi, when you saw it, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was one of the more unique Star Wars films. And I sticks with all those scenes that we would see with like the sand, the salt of Crate, when, you know, you see the feet being dragged back and the red, and just the throne room, and, you know, Rey and Kylo fighting back to back. And I just think about this incredible scene, incredible cinematic pieces that you could take from that movie. I know that people are very divided on these films. It seems like you're like in three different camps. Pretty much everybody hates Rise of Skywalker. I actually saw a guy wearing a Rise of Skywalker shirt, and I was working and I saw him, and I almost said, like, "What are you doing?" I mean, it's like, but I mean, I was instead of asking what he wanted to drink, I was like,
"What's wrong with you?
What are you? Are you already drunk?" I was like, "Why are you wearing a t-shirt?" Anyway, but like, people are in this weird camp to where they liked Force Awakens and they liked Last Jedi, and they hate Rise of Skywalker. I'm in the camp where I love Last Jedi, and then the other two movies are fine. And then there seems like there's people who hate Last Jedi, and then they really love Force Awakens. Paul's kind of in his own category, to where I think he liked Force Awakens and Last Jedi. He didn't care for Rise.
And I'm in that camp with Paul.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Austin, you might be too.
Yeah, I think I'm in that camp too. I loved Force Awakens, but I loved Last Jedi because it was unique and different from the mold that every Star Wars movie was, pretty much. I feel like it was way different. That's why I liked it. There were some scenes, you know, that it was not great, like the race scene with the weird horses. I remember that, the casino scene. It was fine, but yeah.
Right, I agree. That was probably
the only thing that I didn't
movie.
really like.
Bad,
so yeah, but I thought it was really unique. The Snoke thing didn't really make me like mad or anything. I thought the main villain was Kylo, and I thought it was cool that Rey wasn't anybody. It was just a person. That's it. It wasn't like you had to be a Skywalker, but they changed that at the.
She was just
they rewrote that.
You're
But
like, "Oh, cool! So she's not a Skywalker. This is great."
And they changed it. But yeah, I just love the last scene when that random kid from that casino grabbed the broom at the Force.
Wonderful.
And
he had the rebel ring on.
Yeah, and
that
was the end of the movie. I was like, oh, we're going into the next one.
My favorite line in the movie is when Kylo Ren yells, "No, you keep holding on!" That's my favorite line. I don't know why. Just the way he delivers it is so good.
That was pretty good right there, too.
That was pretty good.
He's so good in the way he does it. Anyway, Paul, you love this movie. Why do you love it so much?
I think, and see, I like listening to everybody talk about it, and I hear the same thing that you guys are saying a lot about it. I heard a lot of people say it's unique from the other Star Wars films, and weirdly, I don't feel that as much. I didn't come out of it going, "Oh, that was so different." Honestly, my immediate thought upon leaving the theater after I saw that, I was like, that could be the last one, and I would be happy.
Oh, okay.
That could be, I could never see another Star Wars movie. And the way that ended, it's open-ended, but it's hope has been restored in the galaxy. Kylo can't win. He can't. There's nothing they can do. And I thought that was a beautiful sentiment, and could have been, obviously they weren't gonna, I didn't think they were, but I could have totally been happy with that being the last one that came out.
Mhm.
And I think it's funny because people are, I mean, we're talking about a movie, it doesn't really matter, but people are such like hypocrites about things. They're like, oh, The Force Awakens is it's just a new hope again. But then when Snoke isn't the overarching bad guy over the main bad guy, just like the Emperor over Darth Vader, when he isn't that for the next 3 movies, oh well, then you're like, oh, but Snoke should have been this. He should have been like the Emperor. But you were mad when The Force Awakens was just like A New Hope. But now that they're not doing the same thing with this character they did in the original trilogy, now you're mad about that? Make it make sense. It just is ridiculous and doesn't make any sense to me. If you don't like this movie, I get it. If anyone who doesn't like any movie, I get it. But if you're like making points that contradict other points you make, that's a little hard for me to, like put any stock in your opinion. But I love this film. I think it exemplifies what Jedi are about, and that's being the beacon of hope.
Sure.
Always. And the other main thing I love about this movie, which ends up getting retconned, and I just kind of pretend the Rise of Skywalker doesn't happen sometimes, is
A lot of people do that.
Rey is nobody. That little boy at the end is nobody. But that does not mean you cannot be somebody.
Mm.
And I think that was the most beautiful sentiment of this whole entire film, and it carried it. And I loved it so much. And then it gets wiped away. And then you have awesome scenes at the end when a girl from Jurassic Park, I can't remember her character.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern.
Yeah.
She goes to light speed through
yeah.
the ship,
Dude,
that was
going the
awesome.
other way.
We've never seen anything like that in a
And
Star
then
Wars.
you
It's
have-
just
and-
silent.
Yep.
And then you
That
have
was awesome.
people saying, well, the physics of it doesn't make sense. Bro, you're watching a Star Wars movie and
Yeah,
you're
there's
complaining
fire in
about
space when they shoot other
physics?
ships. Like, get over it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
like
can
in
hear
Fast
the lasers.
X when they did the.
Oh gosh, we don't want to talk about that movie.
And I thought Benicio del Toro's character is an incredibly interesting character. He's not much different from Andor in that he's on the fence. He's not going to help the Jedi because they're good, or the Resistance because they're good guys, and he's not going to help the what are they? The First Order because they're villains. There's blurred lines, and I think that was the beginning and the impetus of just that interesting part of Star Wars. There are the Jedi who are the hope. There are the First Order who are the villains, but there's people in between who are just trying to make a living. And I think the casino scene, it's one of the weaker parts of the movie, but it serves a purpose to say, and I think it's incredibly interesting that they didn't succeed. Finn and what's her name didn't succeed. Rose Tika didn't succeed. And I think that was an interesting storyline to put in there where not everything works out all the time. And I just love that so much. The only part of this movie, if I could change one part of this movie, it would be Finn being saved by her at the end. And now there's a lot of cultural things with that. I've talked to some people and they're like, oh, you think they should have killed the only black guy? I think that's an interesting take, but I wasn't thinking about it from that point. I was thinking about it would have been interesting for him to sacrifice himself to stop it, and then they keep coming. And he made a great sacrifice, but it didn't work. And I thought, again, that would have been compelling. But her saving him, like that scene, I don't love because she crashes. And I'm like, bro, you could have killed him like that anyways.
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
that's
Yeah.
really the only scene in the movie where I'm like, and then she kisses him, and I'm like, what is happening?
Oh.
Hey.
But
And he falls,
shoot or
then he
shoot.
falls asleep.
I
Shoot your shot,
right.
bro.
I really adore this movie. I could watch it over and over again. I
Yeah.
think Luke's sacrifice. First time you watch it, you don't notice the sand isn't moving underneath him.
Yeah, I didn't
and then
notice it,
every
yeah.
time after you watch it, he was a hologram the whole time.
Dude.
We had never seen, and Ryan Johnson, when he was writing this movie and he was doing press for this movie, he told people, you're going to see things that Jedi have never been shown. We've never shown you that Jedi can do before. And, J.J. Abrams said the same thing for the next one. And we were like, okay, cool, but like, whatever. But there is a few things I want to talk about. There's 3 big things that were sort of divisive for a lot of people. The first one I want to start out with is a specific scene that I personally really loved the way that they did it, the way that they introduced who this person became after all of these years, and the power that she has. Leia floating in space, and you see the Force around her, and her hand ticks, and her eyes open, and she goes right back into the ship, and they take her in. I think that's one of the coolest moments in the movie because we've never seen Leia use the Force before. But in Return of the Jedi, we get told that there's, Empire, we get told there is another. And Luke says that, my father have it, I have it. And he looks at her and says, my sister has it. And she's like, I knew
The
all
extent of
along.
her ability was her communicating with Luke.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the extent of her showing
that we
any
saw,
ability. Right.
in the original trilogy.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, what is this? Is this Disney just Big Mary Poppins and having her come and float in there?" I go, "No, you got to think it's been 30 years since we've seen
Mary
this
Poppins was a
character." Yeah, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That would have been cool. But
Shout out.
we haven't seen her in 30 years. So wait, we're supposed to say that she has force powers and that Luke didn't go, "Hey, let me teach you some stuff the old man and Obi-Wan taught me." You remember Obi-Wan, right? He saved you once when you were 9 and didn't talk about it at all after
Trench
anyone.
coat.
Trench coat. Hey,
yeah.
I got you.
So for me, it was a really beautiful moment. I want to get your guys' thoughts on that specific scene. And there's a couple other things I want to touch on for this movie that are divisive, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on. But yeah, Leia in space, Austin.
Well, at first when I saw it,
Just raise your hand.
no, I was just moving my
He's
glasses.
fixing his
I
glasses.
was fixing I wasn't raising my hand. I'm not used to wearing glasses. Sorry, guys. This is my first time in a long time wearing glasses.
You look great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Quan loves my shirt also. Yeah, he
That was
loves it a
so
lot.
funny, dude. I really thought you raised your hand.
So about the scene. So the first time I saw it, I thought it was kind of cheesy when I first saw it because I didn't know what was happening. But then when I saw it again and again, I was like, okay, this is kind of a cool scene. Because when I first saw it, I kind of wasn't focusing on. I was just like focusing like what's happening. I wasn't really focusing on what's going on around. I was really just focusing on the story. The second time, third time I watched it, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool scene. So we never saw that before. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and even Leia goes, "I could feel the good in him. I still feel the light in him." Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, Paul, what did you think?
I am like in the middle on it, I guess. I understand the reasons you love it. I'm not quite that passionate about the scene, but also it didn't bother me. Like I wasn't like why does she have force powers? Well, everyone wants someone to have a reason to have force powers. Well, she's the son of Anakin Skywalker and the brother of Luke Skywalker. So there you have your answer.
She's a twin
Yeah.
to the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy.
The two
What do you
most
do?
powerful Jedis who have ever existed. And she can't do something cool like that. I don't know. I think the most valid criticism of it is not the scene, not it happening, but she does look a little goofy coming back into the thing. She does look a little Mary Poppins-y, and the visual isn't my favorite. But I dug it. I mean, I just didn't. I didn't watch the movie and go, "Oh," I thought it was fine.
There were a lot of people who did.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Frank.
Back in the day, you guys know I'm old. So back in the day, I mean, Carrie Fisher was a babe. I mean, she was and she's full of sass
Did
and
not see this
whatnot.
going that way.
And oh, we're going there. And I appreciated the fact that she became more well-rounded as a character as these movies. Listen, we love the nostalgia aspect of it, that we get to see Harrison Ford play Han Solo. In a couple of weeks, we get to see Harrison Ford playing Indiana Jones again.
Not
we
excited
get to
for
see Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker again.
No.
And seeing her play Leia is
So excited.
it's a really cool moment. And to see her, like you're saying, to see her being able to use any type of force related powers is a cool moment. And it didn't bother me when I saw it the first time, and seeing people more upset about it, I didn't really get it. How upset people were about it, because at that point it just kind of made me laugh, because
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the movie. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Right.
I liked it.
When
All
I
right.
when
Yeah,
I
go
first
keep
saw it, actually, with that, I thought they were gonna just let her die in the space, because she just passed away right before that movie came out. So I thought
So did I.
maybe they reshot it. She's gonna be like, she'll float, because they were playing her song. I thought like, okay, it's gonna be like she passed away in space, but she didn't do that. But I thought they were gonna do that for a couple seconds, because she just passed away before the movie came out.
There's a really beautiful shot of Carrie Fisher in the movie that is like, it shows her real beauty. Even at that age. It's the part on Crate when the doors are slightly open. You could see the First Order marching. They do a shot of her. It's like a slow pan of her going
With,
from
like, the
left to
vet,
right.
yeah.
And it's just her eyes looking through that. Like, she's ready. She's determined. She's ready to take on the First Order. Just like we wanted Luke to take on the First Order. She was like, no, I'll do this. We don't need Luke right now. We might not get to him, but let's do this. I'm ready to fight. I loved that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Luke Skywalker, now, this is my biggest gripe with this movie. And it's not the character of Luke Skywalker. It's the man who plays
Oh my god.
Luke Skywalker.
All right, yeah.
I thought and I love Mark Hamill. I really do
He's a great
love
dude.
Mark Hamill.
I mean, I don't know.
I think he was wrong to come out in the time that he did to say this about Luke Skywalker, and how he fundamentally disagrees with where the character is going. I couldn't disagree more. And I know that he's Luke Skywalker, and I go, who are you to say? I mean, he's played the character for blah, 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 blah. Whatever.
Christian Bale didn't write Batman.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
He didn't?
No. So I watched this movie, and he gives I fundamentally disagree, and I'm like, what is it you disagree with? I don't understand. The Jedi Order failed under your watch.
Yeah.
So wait, you're gonna be this, I wasn't wrong, it was all their fault. It was all Kylo's fault. Like, I'm gonna go in hiding because I'm ashamed of, like, so wait, he's just supposed to be this noble guy who's just being in touch with the Force? No, he abandons the, no, I can't do
Right.
this. I watched my father die. My mother died because of this. My best friend just was killed by my nephew who I trained. Like, I just heard all of this stuff. And now this kid's coming to me and she wants to learn the Force. I have no idea who she is. Go away. Like, of course that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Like, how would Luke respond to the Jedi Order failing under his watch by his nephew?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
He would throw the lightsaber away. He'd go, no, I'm not doing this anymore. This has caused me too much pain in my life, too much agony. The Jedi are all hypocrites. There's no balance. That's what it's supposed to be about. And even he says that, you know what? It's just supposed to be, you think that the Force is just moving a bunch of rocks. It's not that. It's balance. And they do a great scene where they're explaining what the balance is supposed to be. And there's a great vignette where she's sitting down and he's like, okay, what do you see? She says, I see light. I see dark. I see life. I see death. And you see like the bushes growing. And there were some cool visuals we'd never really seen in a Star Wars movie before. And I was like, oh, I love that. But anyway, Luke in this movie to me is perfect. I think Mark Hamill was the reason why people were so divisive on this movie.
He didn't help.
Paul, your thoughts?
Well, the funniest thing he said to me, I watched an interview where he goes, a Jedi wouldn't go into hiding. Why would Luke Skywalker go into hiding? He would do everything he could to right his wrong. Bruh, literally the person that trained you in the second movie is someone who went into hiding
After exile.
and you had to go find him.
Yeah, I think the same thing.
I did not realize Sonny was over
That's why I
there.
was like, huh?
God?
Is that you, God? But
Hey,
like,
Shane.
what are you
Shout out
talking
Jesus.
about? That's literally
Yeah.
the precedent that was set.
and there's also another Jedi who went into hiding too. Oh, what was it? Obi-Wan, the guy.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The other guy who trained him.
And the big thing is like they're mad that like Luke almost killed Kylo or even thought about killing him, whichever like version of it you believe in. And I've realized it's my mother. I've realized that that throughout time, the people who like want my phone's on do not disturb. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening. Throughout time, the people who want to be mad at it just take that first vision of it that Kylo sees as canon. They're like, that's what happened. When the
No,
movie
that's
clearly illustrates that the second thing is what happened. He came into the thing and he was standing there considering it. He was like, can I let this all happen again? Not realizing he was going to be what caused it to all happen again by doing that. And then he failed and he went into hiding and he ends up at the end of the movie sacrificing himself to bring hope back into the galaxy. And I think, is that not what Luke Skywalker was supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
And all
just
this,
in denial.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I just love that he was an actual character.
Yeah.
He didn't come into the movie being some kind of god who made all the new characters not matter, and he just saved the day and did everything and made everything happy and perfect, and he did everything, he had nothing wrong, and he was a shining beacon of whatever. That's not interesting to me.
Not
And
enough.
I think all characters who have to be this shining, like the hero, they all go through things and make mistakes. Superman is a perfect example. He makes mistakes. He does things he shouldn't have. In Kingdom Come, one of the greatest comics ever, he lets Magog take control of protecting the world, and that sends the world into a whirlwind.
Yeah,
These-
unflawed characters are uninteresting characters.
And I think having them make mistakes and then rising above them, which he does in this movie, is infinitely more interesting.
Failure is our greatest teacher.
Like,
That
Yeah.
Yoda scene
Yeah,
in
that was
that
great.
movie is my favorite Yoda scene
Same here.
in any Star Wars.
same here. Austin,
Yeah.
your thoughts on Luke?
Yeah, I thought Luke was great in this because kind of what Paul was saying, they made him human, like he could be like one of us. Like all that stuff happened in his life. He's a mess. He was like pretty much probably into depression, stuff like that. He didn't want to help anyone, stuff like that. My favorite scene in the movie was the last scene when he was the projection, but he went to go see his sister one last time before he knew he was going to die. So he kissed her, and he gave her Harrison Ford's the thing on the Millennium Falcon because he grabbed the dice. Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty cool scene. Then the fight scene, of course, at the end with Kylo and him. That was pretty awesome. I thought it was him in person, but then they did that was pretty awesome too. When they figured, like when he went through him, he's like, more. But yeah, I loved Mark Hamill in this.
Every gun we have on that man.
But yeah, I loved Mark Hamill in this movie. He wasn't in it a lot, which I liked. It was kind of more focusing on the new characters, but he was in it off and on. So that's what I liked about it. And the Yoda scene with him. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I just didn't like when Luke like threw the lightsaber. That kind of pissed me off. I just feel like that wasn't in character of him. He was like, oh.
But think about what that lightsaber represents. That's his dad's lightsaber. It's the lightsaber that Obi-Wan destroyed him with. It's the lightsaber that he tried to take on Vader with and his hand was chopped off. It's the lightsaber that has meaning. Like he sees that and all he sees is pain.
Yeah,
all he sees is suffering. No, can't do it. I loved it, but I understand what you're saying. Like we love our heroes to look at something and maybe him fire it up and see what happens. Like would have loved to have seen that too. We're gonna get to Frank and then our final thoughts of the movie and then wrap up here and get on the Rise of Skywalker.
I like Luke as a character. I think that it kind of felt like an incomplete type of process with him. If we have like future, like we're gonna have some Rey Skywalker or Rey Skywalker. It's weird to say that out loud. We're gonna have a Rey-led film in the future where she's leading like a new Jedi Academy or something like that.
I love her character. I hate that she's a Skywalker.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have Force projection, Force ghosts of Luke. I'm assuming in the future, and then maybe Mark Hamill's able to kind of redeem himself in that role as the Force ghost to where people feel a little bit more comfortable. I love the fact how divisive the movie is.
Yeah,
because
fun to talk about.
It's like you're hot or you're cold on it, and I mean I really liked it, and it was something that I can go back and I rewatch Force Awakens once in a while. I've never rewatched Rise of Skywalker, but I haven't
either.
I watched next week. Yeah, we're gonna watch it before next week, but
we have to.
I watched Last Jedi. Like once or twice a year, I watched Last Jedi. I enjoyed it, and I thought that overall, it was cool to see him as Luke one last time. To whatever
in the scene
interpretation
where he goes, he disappears and he becomes one with the Force, much like he saw Obi-Wan do. But when he's floating in midair, he falls down and disappears. And what is the scenery?
It's the same as the New Hope at the
two
first
sunsets,
scene. Yeah.
And you see it on his face. He looks at the two sunsets and goes,
in the song, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm hope. I am hope. I remember wanting to be hope for people, and now I have the opportunity to do that. And he tells him, he goes, I'm not the last Jedi. There is hope out there. That's all we need. And I win and you lose, and he disappears, and that's it. You're like, oh my God, that's so.
Yeah, I remember I saw that with you, and everyone was like freaking out in the theater. I think I saw it with you and Quan and all those peeps back then.
Oh, I got choked up.
So,
it was yeah.
So it sounds like everybody likes it a quite good deal. 1 out of 10.
9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, 9.5.
9.
Yeah, like a 9.
Sonny, how about you, bud?
I'll give it a 3. No,
Marcus?
No, I enjoyed it. Especially Donovan. You were talking about visuals. There was a lot of cool visuals that we didn't get in many other Star Wars. I liked it. I think I've only seen it once though.
Oh,
but I enjoyed it.
And the lightsaber fight. The lightsaber fight.
Yeah.
A lightsaber fight we've never seen before. Again, it broke the mold.
Praetorian guards.
Yeah.
The Praetorian guards are there.
That was
and then,
dope.
dude,
when he flung and he like, just turned on the lightsaber right in his face.
Or even Snoke being blind to what was going on. He's like, I see you turning it towards your enemy and striking them down. And then it's him.
Cut him right in half.
No.
Quan, what do you got? What'd you give it?
When I was at the movie theater and it ended, I said it was one of the best Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a 9 when I left the theater. I let people's opinions like mess up my opinion when I was watching it again, but I haven't seen it. I've probably seen it like 3 times. So I haven't watched it in a long time. So I do want to watch it again. I mean, it was definitely the best one of the new three.
Yeah.
One thing I had a weird the connection between Rey and Kylo and like the sabers that they could like throw through space and time, and you know what I mean? Was that in the same fight?
That's Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
That was Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
I'm like, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, no, that
It's Rise
whole
of
thing
Skywalker,
about
there you
her
go.
grabbing a
Yeah.
lightsaber and
Yeah.
he's somewhere else. We're gonna get into it. But folks, thank you so much for joining us today. If you haven't seen The Last Jedi, it's on Disney Plus. Go see it. Not that I'm promoting Disney Plus or anything like that, but yeah, go watch it. Let us know
Please
what you
pay
think in
us
the
Disney
comment
Plus.
below.
That'd be
If you've
dope.
already seen it, you love it, you hate it, we want to know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications for when we go live every Thursday at 6 p.m. And then throughout the week, we have wonderful content for you guys to enjoy, including Run It Backs. We're going to be doing Rise of Skywalker next week. And then we're going to collaborate and see what our next Run It Back series
We're
is going
doing
to be.
We're doing Rogue
Oh,
One.
yeah.
We're gonna do Solo,
Ew.
and then I think maybe Air Bud.
And then we'll do the
Airbuds.
Airbuds
I was
saga.
thinking Jurassic Park or something. No,
That's
That would be
fine.
fun.
Do Fast and Furious.
Oh,
Oh
Fast
yeah,
and Furious.
all about
Boy,
family.
that'll be great.
actually, that's
So, guys, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, please hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. We're on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're available every single week. We have so much out there for you. We love you, and we'll see you next time.
bye.
Bye.
And Feet Finder.
God damn it.